Ghostreport. Happy Saturday. How's everyone's weekend going? What is up? D Nice, Tammy, Leonore, Julissa. How is everyone doing? How's your weekend? We'll wait a few minutes for people to trickle in before I get into the nitty-gritty. Anybody do anything interesting this weekend or watched anything crazy that was interesting? As we wait for people to come in. Give me a second, guys. Leonardo's Dune 1 and 2. Oh, you watched Dune 1 and 2? I saw the original years ago and I never watched either of them. I don't know. I didn't find an interest in that film. I mean, it looks like it's beautifully shot, but I just never found an interest in watching it. I liked the original. I guess, I mean, I know a lot of people said it sucked, but I was super young when it came out, so of course I'm gonna like it. But just I did see it on Max, but just never watched it. What's up, Lisa Boo? How's it going? But just never felt to watch the new one. I don't know why. Just one of those things. It didn't catch my eye. But how was it, Leonore? And it's on the cover photo of Max. When you turn on your app, you cannot miss it. Lisa Boo goes, "Hi, Lisa. Going good. Project Metal Music says A up. Well, A up back to Project Metal Music. I hope he is doing well. I know of the time difference, so I totally understand why he can't make it. Makes perfect sense." Leonore goes, "It's like a meh." We'll wait a few minutes for people to trickle in before I get into the spooky wookie. But I did want to share, I mean, I guess to keep us occupied, I'll show some TikToks of pranks because I do like pranks just while we're waiting for people to come in. Marcella, what's up? How's it going? Julissa goes, "I haven't watched any new movies, but I'm going to take my son tomorrow to see the newest Planet of the Apes. That the trailer to that one, I haven't seen that one yet, but the trailer to it looks good." Kyle, what is up? Matthew, how's it going? So while we're waiting, so you don't see my mug going like this in the dead silent, because I hate dead silence. Joanne, how's it going? We are gonna watch some scare prank TikToks with scary dolls. Tyrana, what is up? Jennifer Marie goes, "Lewis was abducted by Xeno and turned into a popsicle person on his life." That's a good one. Wendy, how's it going? Anne is asking, what did I think of, hold on, let me come back to this for a second. Anne is asking, what did you think of J-Lo's movie? Heard you stayed awake through the whole thing. Yes, I did actually. I was kind of well, I didn't see a trailer or anything. I did not know what it was about before I even watched it. I just knew J-Lo was in it. Uh CGI was amazing. And you know me, I'm more of a practical effect person than a CGI person, but the CGI, I mean, there were some scenes where you could totally tell like they were in front of a green screen because you could see you could see like if you looked at the edgings of her hair, you could see like she was in front of a green screen type of thing. But for the most part, the CGI was amazing. Whoever did the CGI on this, and it was for a Netflix film, it was amazing. Whoever did the CGI needs props because I was impressed with it. I actually it kind of I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed it. Maybe it wasn't something I would I wasn't even wanting to see it, but I did enjoy it. I liked the banter between Smith and J Lo. It was hilarious. It made me laugh. The robot, there was a few things in it that reminded me of Star Wars, and if you're not familiar with the robot that Smith is, it kind of reminded me of Aliens or RoboCop, like something I've seen in those movies. So it was like they kind of took ideas from other movies. Um, didn't care for the acting because I wasn't paying attention to that, but I did like the banter between J Lo and her robot counterpart. I thought was hilarious. It had me laughing. Um, the action scenes were good. I think in the middle it kind of slows down a bit, but it has to kind of, I guess it I guess it has to tell that story about her and about her past and how she has a hard time trusting uh AI, which is why it's slow. So I guess that's why it's kind of slow in the middle, but I did enjoy it. I didn't have a problem with it. Thank you, Marcella. Shamanistic Unicorn Town says that says a lot. Bernadette and Brandon are in the house. Gunner Girl, what is up? Oh, as always, too, before I get into the nitty gritty, Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. Just remind me before the end of the stream because I will forget. Trust me, the older I get, the more things I forget, believe it or not. So just remind me. Just say Skeleduck in the chat before I end the stream, and I will reveal his location. But all in all, I enjoyed the film like for what it was, not having any expectations or anything. So I mean, it was a good. It started off with a bang, like good action scenes. You're like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this robot? Like, where are we? CGI looks great. It started drawing me in, type of thing. Because usually, like I said, I don't like CGI, but the CGI in this film was amazing. I have to say that over and over again because I was really impressed with it. And for it being Netflix, and I know Netflix doesn't have a Netflix movie or show does not have the budget as some big movies like Dune or I can't even think of Planet of the Apes might have. Oh, Chris Barber and had asked me what I thought of Atlas, the J-Lo movie that's on Netflix that they spoke about. Nerd Report happened to speak about it previously prior to my stream, and Anne had asked because I guess someone mentioned that I stayed awake throughout the whole thing. I did. The funny thing is I really didn't want to watch it, but then once I watched it, I was like, huh, this ain't that bad. Chris goes all pass. So I mean, there it is. Leonora goes, I don't know about the new Apes movie having flashback. It looks good. It does by the trailer, but I have yet to see it. Chris goes, I don't have Netflix. I mean, that's good. You're not missing much, Chris. Don't worry. Joanne, I totally understand because it's mostly with all the streaming services. They lately they've all been raising their prices. I have mine hooked up with my cell phone bill, so it's not like um I'm not spending too much on it, so it's not too bad. But I totally understand. Wendy goes, oh, I know, Wendy. That is what I caught Bridgerton. I did catch the first 2 episodes. I'm on the 3rd one. My thoughts so far is it doesn't have the oomph like the other 2 seasons has and Queen Charlotte has. Um, it doesn't have that. I don't know. I still want to keep watching it. Like I want to binge watch it. Like every time an episode ends, I still have that. Oh my god, what's gonna happen next? What's gonna happen next? But it doesn't have that. I mean, I don't know that excitement that the other 2 had, or that excitement that Queen Charlotte had. So this one, it's starting out a little. I feel like a little slow in a way. Carol, what is up? Joanne, that's what I have too. I've got Prime and well, I don't pay for the premium on YouTube. I just have the free YouTube. But the way things are going, they're making these streaming services cost more than actual cable in some places. But I'm 2 episodes down, so I got 2 more to go because they split the season. I was watching because I'm behind on Ghost Adventures. So I'm watching the Skinwalker invasion episode because I was out of town when it came on. And I haven't felt like watching Ghost Hunters because I wanted to catch Bridgerton. But to get into the nitty-gritty, I'll come back to the TikToks. Let me open my link here. Ah, I'll come back to that one. Joanne goes, yeah, grocery prices are sky high here. They are here too. I believe there's some retailers that are slashing prices, I've heard, to combat it. But I feel you. It's the same here. Gas prices as well. Everything is skyrocketed. Fast food has skyrocketed here as well. I know I've spoke about Bloody Mary before, but I don't know if I've ever really gone in depth. I don't remember, so I apologize if I did. Cuz I lose track sometimes. Rooster, what is up? But I don't think I made it a main topic. I kind of went into it vaguely, but have any of you guys tried Bloody Mary? Yeah, that is sad, Leonore. So high that the 99-cent store is gone. I agree. That's sad. That was like a staple when I was younger. I used to shop there when I was younger. I stopped, but then I would still go in every once in a while because when Halloween came about, I would always go into the dollar stores to see what decorations they have. I love Halloween decorations. Julissa goes, it's okay, we need refresher. I have never tried Bloody Mary. I know it used to be a thing for sleepovers. I remember when I would go on sleepovers, it was like what is stiff as a board, and then Bloody Mary. I forgot what other things they would make us do. I don't remember. And that too, Wendy, Dollar Tree isn't a dollar anymore. That's true. But then my friends were Christian, so they didn't really do things like that. So but I did remember outside of my friends, I did remember the stiff as a board thing, and Bloody Mary, but I never really tried it. Yeah, Leonore light as a feather, stiff as a board. I had never tried any of those. I've seen them on TV shows being done, but I've never tried the Bloody Mary thing. Because one of my favorite films growing up was Candyman, so that was kind of it's kind of very similar. Candyman's very similar to Bloody Mary, where you see Candyman 3 times in the mirror, and he appears. I always loved that movie. I loved. I felt for. I mean, I felt for Candyman, believe it or not, in that film. Wendy goes, I catch a great Bloody Mary at the airport bar. I don't think I've ever tried a Bloody Mary too to go Wendy's route. Shamanistic unicorn tacos, they are good. I had one in the morning in Mexico. But I even have his little die-cast figure. Not the remake one by Jordan. I think it was Jordan Peele. I don't know if it was a Jordan Peele because Jordan Peele is overrated. Um, you didn't hear that from me. But I found this article from Dread Central. I'm getting tongue-tied today. Bloody Mary separating fact from fiction. The legend of Bloody Mary has long been a childhood rite of passage. The most common version of the ritual sees participants staring into a bathroom mirror by candlelight and saying Bloody Mary. This is weird. I don't recall it being 13 times. Have you guys recalled Bloody Mary in the mirror for 13 times? I've always heard 3 times. Or 5, I think. Somewhere around there. I've never heard 13 times. Various versions. Anne goes, no, only 3. Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of weird that there was another. This is not the only article I found that said 13 times. Yeah, Anne says 3. Wendy says 3. Shamanistic unicorn Tam goes, nope. Tyrana goes 3. Joanne goes 3. Julia says, I've heard 3. Yeah, I've heard 3. So this 13 times. But like I said, this wasn't the only article that said 13 times, so they're probably just going bouncing off of one another, maybe. Bernadette goes, it was 3 times saying her name in the dark with a candle for Bloody Mary. Yeah, that's what I've always heard, 3 times. Jennifer Marie goes, I've only ever heard it as 3. Maybe that's why it's never worked for me. Maybe. That I take it, Jennifer Marie, you've tried. Various reasons. Oh, Joanne goes, maybe a typo? Oh, maybe. Oh, you know what? Yeah, but I've seen another article say 13 times too. And I know a lot of articles bounce off of other articles, so maybe they're just like where they get their information from. So Carol goes, maybe that's the reason she doesn't show up, but I've only heard of it 3 times. Julissa goes, I thought in the dark in front of a mirror. That's what I thought, but this one's also saying a candle. And goes 2 typos. So various versions of the conjuring ritual have been around for centuries, with regional incarnations of the legend presents across the globe. There are a few potential points of origin, with Queen Mary I, who was eventually dubbed Bloody Mary, being the front runner, but seen as the lore predates the modern era, it's impossible to say with any degree of certainty precisely where the legend originated. With that in mind, I will give you a premiere on each of the possible culprits and let you decide from there. First up, Queen Mary the First. Queen Mary the First is the child of Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon. Henry VIII divorced Mary's mother by labeling the union incestuous. I cannot read today. Catherine, if you guys had followed the Tudors, he basically, in the Tudors, they had said Catherine was married to Henry's brother, first, and in there they were saying Catherine had bedded with her brother before they were married, so they were saying that it was not a true union or something like that. And this was in the Tudors. Catherine had been married to the king's brother for a brief time and used that as justification to invalidate the marriage. The king quickly remarried Anne Boleyn, and Mary was ultimately declared an illegitimate child, and her title changed from princess to lady. Henry VIII then broke from his Catholic roots and started the Church of England. Although her parents divorced, Smithsonian Magazine reports that Mary was reluctant to acknowledge the dissolution of the union and only mended ways with her father after Anne was executed in 1536 for not giving him a son. Upon her father's death, Mary's half brother Edward VI rose to power and adopted Protestant views, much to Mary's chagrin. Upon Edward's death, Mary and her half sister Elizabeth were in line for the throne, but Edward VI went against their father's wishes and appointed Lady Jane Grey, a Protestant cousin. Not one to back down, Mary rallied supporters, marched on London with Elizabeth by her side, and reclaimed her birthright. Her ascension to the throne made Mary the first English queen to rise to power of her own volition and not as the spouse of a king. A devout Catholic, Mary reportedly burned as many as 300 Protestants at the stake during her tenure as queen. She was mad. Though she was dubbed Bloody Mary for a perceived penchant of violence, it's likely that Mary wasn't any more violent than your average monarch, and she may have been mislabeled as violent based on being a woman in a position of power at a time when that was all but unheard of. So that's an important piece of historical context to take into account when considering her reign. Elizabeth Bathory and her penchant for virgin blood. Elizabeth Bathory is another potential inspiration for the urban legend. The suspected serial killer is believed to have murdered as many as 600 women. She came from an aristocratic family with familiar it I hate when that happens. The page jumps off up and I lose my spot with familiar ties to the King of Poland. Her proclivities led to Bathory being dubbed the Blood Countess, although it's important to note there's still debate as to whether she's guilty of all the crimes she stands accused of or if misinformation may be partially to blame. I think also too they considered her, if I'm not mistaken, like a vampire as well. At the age of 15, Bathory married Count Frederick Nazadi. Some accounts suggest her husband advised her in various torture methods, taking inspiration from his time as a soldier. Bathory is suspected of murdering female servants and noblewomen she was tasked with educating. The majority of her crimes likely took place after the death of her husband in 1604. Bathory's victims were tortured in a number of cruel ways. In warm months, she would cover young women in honey and leave them outdoors as insect baits. In the winter months, Bathory would subject her victims to lethal ice baths. She was also known to use genital mutilation and reportedly insert needles under the fingers of the women she killed. Although rumors of her bathing in the blood of the victims have long prevailed, biography notes that, I hate when they do that. Like the page keeps bouncing up on me. Biography notes that those don't come from firsthand accounts. In fact, the earliest documented claims of the behavior originated at least 100 years after her death. This in 1610, I wonder what her thing against women was, because that's kind of weird. To see a serial killer. I mean, well, I mean, there's John Wayne Gacy. He killed all men, so I was going to say it's weird to see a woman kill all women, but I wonder what her hatred for women was to cause her to uh do this. Curious minds want to know. In 1610, Bathory was sentenced to house arrest because of her status. She was kept from serving actual prison time. Several of Bathory's servants were taken into custody and revealed that they had been tasked with burying the bodies of a multitude of victims. However, Bathory's servants were tortured by authorities, making their statements impossible to take at face value. Speculation abounds that some of the claims against her may have been driven by ulterior motives. However, there is ample evidence to suggest Bathory had a violent streak. Matthew goes women competition. Joanne goes maybe she was a man. And I have no idea how the commercial the ads work, to be honest with you. Leonora goes, this chica's too focused on pretty. I just know, like with ads, I don't really get that much. It basically goes to YouTube. I mean, I know some of these bigger YouTubers, the ads would probably help them, but I don't because it's based on views, and I don't really get that many views, to be honest with you guys. Bernadette goes, Mary was way worse, in my opinion, than her father. She was horrible. She had a lot. Bernadette, though, Mary had a lot of. I mean, she had to watch. I think she was probably sent away a lot. And then to lose your title, that kind of sucks. That would piss me off. So I kind of understand she was probably just angry. Wendy goes, I love the period pieces, the dress and the banter. This is the time period I actually like. I'm more of a Renaissance period person than the Victorian era. I've always been that way, though I do like the Victorian era too. I like watching it. I like anything in the past, to be honest with you. It's just something different from just how the women dressed and how elegant their clothing was, and the jewels that they would wear. Like, I love vintage jewelry, so I'm always like, whenever I watch those films, I'm always looking at their jewelry. But I don't know if I would want to live in those times. Matthew goes, perfumes were made of a ton of different things like bugs and wee wee. I I would believe it. A witch named Mary Worth. The third possible source of the grisly legend is Mary Worth, a woman condemned to burn at the stake for the perceived crime of witchcraft. Little is known about Mary Worth, and some argue that she is a work of fiction. I am inclined to agree that Mary Worth may be an urban legend. There's very little corroborating information to support her existence. While it's possible her story is true, it's more likely she's an amalgamation of several women or entirely made up. So there you have it. Bloody Mary was likely inspired by, in order of likelihood, Queen Mary I, Elizabeth Bathory, or Mary Worth. But is there any validity to claim she appears in the mirror when you say her name 3 times? It's insistent on the 13 times. Not really. However, there are some plausible theories as to how the legend may have come to be. Perhaps the most likely explanation regarding reports of a specter that emerges from the mirror is the simplest. Staring into reflective glass for extended periods of time have been known to induce hallucinations and can sometimes produce dissociative effect that's easy enough to recognize now, but the time from which such legends originate was a less informed one. One needn't look too far back into history to understand that superstitions once ran wild. Hundreds of years ago, people were more prone to take what they saw at face value. And if I know anything, it's that introspection, investigation, and verification are key to understanding the world around us. Wendy goes, Candy and Mary. I kind of like the story of Mary. Um, I feel like I do have another article, um, about Bloody Mary that it might repeat itself, but it might give us some more insight. Matthew goes, red dye is made from bugs, including in food you eat today. I know, Matthew, though, I know that some bugs, though, are healthy for you and good protein. I don't know about eating them straight off the plate, but but I do have another article. Um, one of these days, I should try the Bloody Mary thing. Lisa Boo goes protein. Yes, protein. It is. I've heard. I've heard they're actually pretty. They're good for you. Um, some bugs. I found this weird. I get spiders in my room to go off cult because of the bug thing that Matthew did. I get spiders in my room and I usually leave them alone. And one night I saw the spider. I've never seen the spider before. Big spider. I was like, what the hell is that? And I was like, so I took a picture of it. I Googled pictured it because on your phone you could go through Google and you can have it search through pictures or you can have it search through songs, whatever it may be. So I did a Google picture search and it came up with a false widow. And it would bounce because I took several pictures, right? To, did several searches just to find out. And it kept coming up to the false widow, but it went to the brown widow. And I go, no, that's not a brown widow. It looks like a false widow. All the articles said that it was um like most of the articles that were popping up saying that they were prominent in the UK. And I was like, well, I'm in California. Like, why the hell do I have this thing here? And then as I kept going on, it did say that it's here in California. And I was like, well, is it poisonous? Because it's saying it's false widow. He's still in my room, by the way. I lost him and then I found him today. But he's over by the window. So if he's not bugging me, I'm going to leave him alone. But apparently, I guess their bites are just as bad as like by seeing pictures. I mean, one article says, oh, it's rare that they'll bite you, and it's nothing but slight pain like a bee sting. And then another one, I saw these pictures where the person's hand was all swollen and I was like, the problem is it was right above my fish tank, so I couldn't kill it because I couldn't spray anything. So, but he's still in my room, but he's now over by the window. He's not bugging me. So if he stays there, I don't care. And he's not a recluse. But that spider was crazy. It was big. It was like that big. I have never seen. I mean, I guess what they're called. I think it's a wolf spider. I would get those a lot in my room. And the daddy long legs, which I don't mind because the daddy long legs eats other bugs. Wendy goes, the spider bites are real in the country. I have yet to be bitten by one, but if it is a black widow, that's when I usually kill it. But this one happened to be, like I said, above my fish tank, so I couldn't do anything about it. I agree, Tyran, as long as it doesn't bite you. It is over by my sliding glass window, and he seems to be staying right there, so I'm fine with that. Carol goes, any spiders die in my room? My brother used to chase me around the house with them. Nope, not dealing with them. I don't blame you for that. I've grown up with spiders, so I'm used to it with all kinds of bugs. So it's just second nature to me to have bugs. I go, as long as they're not in my bed, I'm fine. But that reminded me of the spider when Matthew brought up bugs. But they're big. The only ones I tend to not like are thank you, Anne. What should you never say to a bloodsucker? Bite me. Hearts for Anne, guys. Thank you, Anne, for that super chat. Hearts for Anne and the dad jokes that she brings to make us laugh. That's a good one, Anne. Hearts for Anne, guys. Thank you, Anne, for the support. Oh, Wendy, I know stink bugs too. I have them around here. I see them on the trails when I'm hiking. I've had I don't know what you call those lizards, the lizards with the long I call them snake lizards because they look like snake lizards. Thank you, Leonore, for the super sticker of the cute corgi. Hearts for Leonore as well. Thank you, Leonore. I appreciate that. I get those because when I open my window, there's a crack in the screen door so they get in. And I've had mice. But I got rid of the mice. Those type of things I get rid of because I have to. All right, continuing on with the Bloody Mary. This is another story. Because I am intrigued by Mary. I feel for her. I do. It's also a time period that I've always been fascinated with. The true story of Bloody Mary, the woman behind the mirror. A previous article had mentioned Mary the First, Bathory, and a witch, Mary the Witch, I believe they said, which could have been Shamanistic Unicorn Tam. Thank you for the super sticker of the fitness pair. Hearts for Shamanistic Unicorn Tam as well. Thank you. I appreciate it. Chris Barber. Last year, I don't know if it's because we had a lot of rain last year. I had a lot of those buggers, those earwigs, or pincher bugs in my house. I found one this year, but I had them all over the place. And then I had, the worst thing I cannot stand. And I had them before I get into this. The worst thing I had last year, I don't have them so far this year, were water bugs. I hate those. And roaches. And I think it's because we hadn't had, last year was the first time we had a crap load of rain. And we hadn't had rain in a while. And we had that freak storm where it actually snowed in some areas. So I think that they came out in drone. That's like, oh my god, I had cucarachas coming out of my, you know, everywhere. Tyrana, thank you for the super sticker of another cute corgi. Hearts for Tyrana as well. Thank you, Tyrana. I appreciate that. Shamanistic unicorn term goes, water bugs are, yeah, they are. I mean, I've grown up with them. I'm like, whatever, but especially when you're trying to take a shower, like you just want to go and take a shower and relax, right? And you turn on you don't look, right, because you're not expecting it to be there. You turn on the water, and I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see. And I get in there, and I'm like, oh, there wasn't one in here this morning. And you have to like kind of go like this to kind of get it down the drain. Oh, that's the one thing I cannot stand. I cannot stand roaches. And it doesn't help because I do have fish tanks, so that doesn't help the situation. But potato bugs, I've heard potato bugs though are good if you have a garden. I've heard. But I haven't really, I mean, I think I've seen one on the outside of my house, but not on the inside. Elaine is asking, what is a potato bug? And we'll continue on. We'll get back to um I'll show you a picture. It's also called the Jerusalem cricket. I'll show you a picture and then we'll get back to Mary. But I understand why Leonore. So that is a potato bug if you can see it. And well, I mean, yeah, in the right-hand corner, that is a potato bug. The only reason why I kind of know what a potato bug is because people on the city site on Facebook, they'll point out and they go, "I found this in my yard. What is it?" I think I've seen one once, but I've heard that they're good for your garden or something like that's what I've heard. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but that is what they look like. They look like something out of a horror movie. And they're fairly big because look at this guy's hand. Hold on. This guy is holding one and they're fairly big. Like the on in the right hand corner of the screen, or right hand, I should say. They're pretty big. Chris Barber goes, I don't have those here. Ooh, they look gross. But that is what a potato bug is for inquiring minds that wanted to know. Elaine wanted to know as well. So that is what a potato bug is. We do get them here in California. I think like I said, I've only come across a few in my lifetime. And they were big. They weren't that big as like what the guy was holding in his hand, but they were pretty good size. Elaine goes, thanks, but no thanks. Wendy goes, I don't want to have nightmares of bugs. Lisa, thank you. Well, I talk about all things spooky. If it involves bugs, it involves bugs. They're creepy. Don't get me wrong. They are creepy. Carol goes, I've seen the potato beetles, but not the bugs. I've seen June bugs. We would get those a lot in the summertime. But and thank you for being a member of the Wolf Pack for 13 months. Happy Saturdays. No potato bug for me. Hearts for Anne for being a member of the Wolf Pack for 13 months. Thank you, Anne. I mean, I'm all about being one with nature, but um I try not to kill things, but if it's poisonous then like there's some things you kind of have to and there's some things that you have no choice. Cuz I like to live in harmony with everything, but there's some things you just have no no choice in the matter. So this article might repeat what the previous article said, but I'm hoping that it goes a little more in depth. Maybe I think it more focuses on Mary, which I kind of find her intriguing. So, a murderous spirit said to appear in the mirror when her name is chanted. Bloody Mary may be inspired by the infamous Tudor Queen Mary the First of England. So, this is a picture of Queen Mary. Obviously the women back then do not look like the women in the movies. I just want to point that out. From Queen Mary the First of England picture to the American witch Mary Worth, the real origin of the murder spirit Bloody Mary have long been hotly debated, and to this day, people still wonder who Bloody Mary really is. So this article is also mentioning Bloody Mary, the witch Mary Worth as well. As the legend goes, Bloody Mary is easy to summon. All you have to do is stand in a dimly lit bathroom, stare into the mirror, and chant her name 13 times. I wonder what their source is. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Then I mean, I wonder if by saying it 4 times, if I conjured her, but I'm not seeing it in front of a mirror though. Then, if all goes according to plan, a ghostly woman should appear in the mirror. Bloody Mary is sometimes alone and other times holding a dead baby, which I'd never heard. I've never heard that version of it. I've only heard the version that she'll come and get you. Often legend states she'll do nothing but stare, but occasionally she'll leap from the glass and scratch or even kill or summon her. That is the one I've heard. But is the legend of Bloody Mary based on a real person? And if so, who? While the Bloody Mary story may be fabricated, there are possible figures from history who might be the real Bloody Mary. They include Queen Mary the First of England, who had been called Bloody Mary for centuries, as well as a murderous Hungarian noblewoman and an evil witch who killed children. Um, They did not talk about that evil witch that killed children in the previous article. It's like, what? What's up, Daniel? Daniel said we used to have to say it 6 times. So maybe there's different maybe everyone had a different version of it. I know earlier we all had said 3. D Nice goes, I do that all the time. So this is a picture of Mary Tudor. She is the daughter of Catherine Aragon and King Henry VIII. I feel for her when she was 28. I know by watching the Tudors, her mother was a devout Catholic. Because her mother did not give her father a son, which is notorious for King Henry VIII. I still want to go back in time and like slap him in the face. Because I feel for those women. I feel for those women. I mean, I get it. They women back then had to either marry into a good family to have a good life, and I feel for her, and I feel why she would have fought to keep her rightful birthright. And that might be why she was so vicious in the way that she ruled her land. Some believe that the Bloody Mary legend is directly tied to the Queen, who bore the same nickname. Queen Mary I of England became known as Bloody Mary because she burned about 280 Protestants alive during her reign. And back then, you couldn't have freedom of religion. So, if you believed in something else other than what the Queen or King believed in, you would basically, yes. D Nice, thank you for reminding everyone. If you guys get a chance, don't forget to smash that like button. D Nice goes, we who grew up Catholics are nuts, speaking from experience. My grandmother was a devout Catholic. She did take me to church with her a few times. I never really, as you know, I'm more of a spiritualist, and I never, even though I went to church, I've been to both sides. I've been to Christian. I think I've been to, I want to say, there's another church I went to that my mom went to, but I want to say it's not Protestant. Maybe it was Protestant. And then I've also went to the Christian side of things, and I never really connected with it. I've always been more of a spiritual, uh, but I could see what you're saying, D Nice. Bernadette goes, I smashed that like button like it owed me money. Thank you, Bernadette. And goes, what do we consider children? My kids are 31, 39, and my son is 28, and I call them my adult children. They're still your children, Anne. Doesn't matter what age they are, they'll still be your babies. Oh, D Nice goes, I was an altar girl. I did it because my family annoyed me during Mass. Daniel goes, an Eps. Hold on. I gotta get a closer look at that. Episcopal Church? No. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. But back then you could not, like I was saying, you could not have freedom of religion, which is kind of sad. So I'm grateful that now that we do have that, we still kind of don't, because there's still people, this is my opinion, this is how I see things, but I still feel like sometimes you don't, because there's still people out there that will judge you for not believing what they believe in. There are some people. I'm not saying it's everyone, but there are some people. Like, I still feel like there's some people that aren't open to other religions. Like, if you're Catholic, you're not open to Christianity, and if you're Christian, you're not open to Catholicism, type like stuff like that. Born on February 18th of 1516 in the Greenwich Palace in London, England, to Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, Mary seemed an unlikely candidate to be queen, let alone a bloody one. Her father deeply desired a male heir and spent Mary's childhood doing whatever it took to get one. Oh yes, he did. Indeed, and I feel for her, like, to have Henry VIII as her father, I feel for her. And I don't think he ever truly accepted her either. So I feel like she probably never really had a father in her life. Indeed, Mary's early years were largely defined by Henry's determination to have a son. When she was a teenager, the king scandalized Europe by declaring his marriage to Mary's mother illegal and incestuous because she had been briefly married to his brother, and his intentions to marry Anne Boleyn. He divorced Catherine, married Anne, and tore England away from the Catholic Church, establishing the Church of England instead. According to the Smithsonian Magazine, I feel like this article took off from the other article. Mary was declared illegitimate, made a lady instead of a princess, and separated from her mother. She stubbornly refused to acknowledge that her parents' marriage had been made illegal or that her father was the head of the Church of England. And thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Hearts for Anne. Thank you, Anne. Welcome, Pearl Jan. Dina loves Maui. Priscilla. Rolonda. McMillion. Aussie Buster. Guys, welcome to the Wolfpack, and hearts for all the new Wolfpack members. And Anne, guys, don't be afraid to say hello. We do not bite. And hearts for Anne, guys. Thank you, Anne. I appreciate that. You are awesome. Carol, I kind of agree with you. I'm kind of the same way. I'm open to learning more about other religions. It fascinates me at times. It does me too as well. I feel like that's why I think sometimes I watch people from abroad, because I like to learn other cultures, and I like to learn their beliefs, and Lisa because I bite sometimes, and I like to see their different traditions as well. Over the years, Mary watched as her father married again and again. After executing Anne Boleyn for not giving him a son, he married Jane Seymour, who died in childbirth. And I think Jane Seymour, he felt she was truly I felt like Jane Seymour was the only woman that he respected, but she had passed. Henry's 4th marriage to Anne of Cleves was short-lived and ended in divorce, and he executed his 5th wife, Catherine Howard, on trumped-up charges. Only Henry's 6th wife, Catherine Parr, outlived him, but Henry had gotten what he wanted. Jane Seymour had a son, Edward VI. When Edward VI died just 6 years into his reign, he tried to ensure that power passed to his Protestant cousin, Lady Jane Grey, but Mary seized her opportunity and led an army into London in 1553. A groundswell of support put her on the throne, and Lady Jane Grey on the executioner block. As queen, however, Mary developed her Bloody Mary reputation. Is Bloody Mary real? And how the Queen's story ties into the disturbing legend. As queen, one of Mary's most urgent priorities was turning England to the Catholic Church. She married Philip II of Spain, squashed as a Protestant rebellion, and reversed many of her father and half-brother's anti-Catholic policies. In 1555, she went on one step further by reviewing a law called Heretico Cumberendo, which punished heretics by burning them at the stake. According to the Smithsonian, Mary hoped the execution would be a short, sharp shock, and that they would encourage Protestants to return to the Catholic Church. She thought just a couple of executions would do the trick, telling her advisors that the executions should be so used that the people might well perceive them not to be condemned without just occasion, whereby they shall both understand the truth and beware to be the like. But Protestants were undeterred, and for 3 years, from 1555 until Mary's death in 1558, almost 300 of them were burned alive at her command. The victims included prominent religious figures like Thomas Cranmer, the Archbishop of Canterbury, and Bishops Hugh Latimer and Nicholas Ridley, as well as scores of normal citizens, most of whom were poor. She was crazy. As history notes, the Protestants' deaths were meticulously recorded by a Protestant named John Fox. In his 1563 book, The Acts and Monuments, also known as Fox Books of Martyrs, he describes the deaths of Protestant martyrs throughout history, complete with illustrations. Thank you, D Nice, for that super chat. Tongue twister. Yes, it is. Hearts for D Nice. Thank you, D Nice. I appreciate that. It is a tongue twister. I'm like, Daniel goes, I remember getting freaked the hell out looking into the mirror, saying Bloody Mary. Oh my God, it was real black then. Bernadette goes, I mean, if King Henry looked like Jonathan Rhys Meyers, I wouldn't have mind, or his friend Henry Cavill. I know what you mean, Bernadette. But King Henry VIII did not look like them. What the heck? Then brought they a what? They use the F word. Then brought they a fagot, kindled with fire, and laid the same down at Dr. Riddle Eyes Fide. Fox wrote of Ridley and Latimer's brutal execution, to whom M. Latimer spake in the matter, Be of good comfort, master Ridley, and play the man. We shall this day lit such a candle by God's grace in England as I trust shall never newer be put out. Mary's scourge of Protestants left a lasting legacy after her death. It earned the Queen the nickname Bloody Mary, but that's not the only reason why some believe the Queen Mary I is linked to the legendary Bloody Mary story. The tragic pregnancy of Queen Mary I. Alleged Bloody Mary sightings in the mirror often describe the ghost as having a baby or looking for a baby. In some versions of the tale, summoners can taunt Bloody Mary by saying, I stole your baby or killed your baby. I have never heard of this side of it. And there's a reason why that refrain would get under Queen Mary's the first skin. Alongside burning Protestants, Mary had another priority, getting pregnant. 37 years old when she took power, Mary was determined to produce an heir during her reign, but things took a strange twist. Though she announced that she was pregnant just 2 months after marrying Philip, and by all conceivable marriage it appeared to be pregnant, Mary's due date came and went without a baby. According to Refinery 29, rumors spread in the French court that Mary had been delivered by a mole or lump of flesh. Possibly she had a molar pregnancy, a complication known as a hydatidform mole. When Mary died in 1558 at the age of 42, possibly from uterine or ovarian cancer, she died without a child. So her Protestant half-sister Elizabeth took power instead, cementing Protestantism place in England. Meanwhile, Mary's enemies made sure that she became known as Bloody Mary, though the Smithsonian notes that her father had ordered the deaths of as many as 72,000 of his subjects, and her sister went on to hang, draw, and quarter 183 Catholics. Mary was the only one deemed bloody. Her reputation could have come from sexism or simply the fact that she was a Catholic queen in a largely Protestant nation. Either way, the Bloody Mary nickname tied Mary to the urban legend, but there are a couple of other women who might have inspired the Bloody Mary story as well. Other possible inspirations of Bloody Mary. So this is a picture of Elizabeth Bathory, and we do know that she was crazy from the previous article. She had I don't know what she had against women. The previous article had never said why she committed the things that she did. D Nice goes, "Oh my god, you're sure? I feel like part of my glasses are working. Sorry, D Nice." Bernadette goes, "That was actually said in the movie Elizabeth about her baby." Carol goes, "That's an excerpt from an old book." So besides Queen Mary the First of England, there was two other main women who some say inspired the Bloody Mary story. The first is Mary Worth, a mysterious witch, and the second is Elizabeth Bathory, a Hungarian noblewoman who allegedly killed hundreds of girls and young women. Details about Mary Worth are hazy, including whether or not she existed at all. Haunted rooms describe her as a witch who allegedly put children under her spell, kidnapped them, murdered them, and then used their blood to stay youthful. And when people in her town found out, they reportedly tied her to a stake and burned her alive. Then Mary Worth screamed that if they dare say her name in the mirror, she would haunt them. The Lake County Journey, however, writes that Mary Worth was a local of Wadsworth, Illinois, who was part of the Reverse Underground Railroad. She'd bring in slaves under false pretenses to send them back down south and make some money. Bob Jensen, a paranormal investigator and the leader of Lake County's Ghostland Society, told the Lake County Journal. Jensen explained that Mary Worth was tortured and killed escaped slaves as part of her witchy rituals. Eventually, the local townspeople found out and killed her either by burning her at the stake or by lynching her. But while Mary Worth's existence seemed debatable, Elizabeth Bathory was very real. A Hungarian noblewoman, she was charged with killing at least 80 girls and young women between 1590 and 1610. Rumors spread that she subjected them to sickening torture, sewing their lips shut, beating them with clubs, and burning them with hot irons. Allegedly, she even bathed in their blood in order to maintain a youthful appearance. What's more, one witness claimed during Bathory's trial that they'd seen a diary in which Bathory recorded her her victories. Oh my God. There were not 80 names on the list, but 650. For that reason, Bathory seemed like a fair candidate to be Bloody Mary. All that said, her defenders argued that the charges against her were fabricated because the king owed her late husband's debt. In any case, the true identity of Bloody Mary is murky. The myth could be based on Queen Mary I, the real Bloody Mary, or other contenders like Mary Worth or Elizabeth Bathory. But no matter who Bloody Mary might be based on, she belongs to one of the most enduring urban legends of all time. So, guys, what do you think Bloody Mary is based on? Do you think it's based on Queen Mary I, Elizabeth Bathory, or the witch Mary, but they don't know if she's real? Elaine goes, "Are these the same people that are portrayed in?" You know what? I have not seen that one. I know of it, but I haven't seen that one. Julissa thinks I think it's based on Queen Mary. Jennifer Marie goes, "Times were wild back then." I want to say I kind of agree with you on with you, Julissa. I think it's based on Queen Mary. I feel like because she was crazy, and I think she got it from her upbringing and what she went through. So I don't blame her. Um, and then again, back then you couldn't have another religion besides what the queen and king believed in. So that was like another thing. Shamanistic unicorn thinks it's the queen too. I think it's her. Um, the other one, I'm curious about Elizabeth Bathory. I'm like, why did she kill all these women? Like, what was her motive? I know I've spoke about her before when I was talking about vampires, because they considered her, I believe, a real life vampire, because she is said to bathe in the blood of her victims to keep young. But it never really gave a motive of anything I've read about her. Never gave a motive of why she did the things she did. Like, why was she targeting women? You know what I mean? Like, that's like, they usually kind of give an explanation of that. Maybe there is an article out there that does. I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna probably dig deeper with her. Carol goes, the stories are interesting, and I always thought it was based on Queen Mary. Julissa goes, jealousy and vanity. Yes. And then when you have power like that, it gets to your head sometimes too. Chris Barber goes, Anne Boleyn was after Queen Mary's mom. Yes, she was. And she wanted to give the king a son, but she ended up giving him a daughter, which in turn, she lost her life. But what King Henry VIII doesn't know, that he's the one that determines the sex of the kid. So it was actually his fault, not the women's fault. So they all died in vain, the poor women. They were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Elaine goes, she broke girl code. Yes, she did. Leonore goes, I heard the story on PBS a while ago. She believed in bathing in their blood, it would help her. Like, keep her youthful appearance. I don't know who would do that. That just, I don't know. There's some people that are crazy like that. Yes, Anne was mother. She was King Henry VIII's second wife. And she won him over Catherine of Aragon, because all King Henry VIII wanted was an heir, and not one of the women he was with had given him an heir. Wendy goes, I'm going to have nightmares for sure. Thanks, Lisa, in chat. Leonor goes, youthful appearance helps make a story of Snow White. Also, perhaps thinks she could have a child? Huh. But I always find it interesting where stories or myths come about and what the reasonings or the inspirations of them are. And I find this pretty I find the story of Mary interesting. I've always been interested in that time period. That's always been one of my favorite time periods when I was growing up. And then I was obsessed with the Tudors. I watched it over and over again too. All right, my next one. With you go, Seven Dwarfs. Who's your daddy? So my next one is ghost of dog or cat captured in creepy CCTV walking through the cars and fences. I'm going to show you the video. I'll read the article. I'll show you the video. I already have I've kind of seen the videos. I have some questions for it. I want to see what you think. Creepy CCTV footage captured in the middle of the night has left some viewers convinced they've spotted the ghost of a dog or cat wandering through a residential street. Spooky CCTV footage that's got ghost hunters barking mad shows what some reckon is the ghost of a dog or cat. The chilling village that's chilling village. Oh my god, the chilling video was posted in the Ghost Caught on Camera group on Facebook. Oh, there's a Ghost Caught on Camera piece, Facebook piece? Facebook page? Oh, okay. But I'm going to follow it. But the timestamp suggests it was captured last year. The clip was shared with a caption that read, "Can anyone suggest what this is? Focus on the right-hand side of the video." The video shows a quiet residential neighborhood with no people in sight. Then, out of nowhere, a weird gray blob starts floating across from the bottom right of the frame to the left. As it travels, it passes through two fences and a car parked on the street. So this is the said video. Um, it is captured from a Ring camera. So there's something on where that yellow circle is. My question is, how the hell do you know that that's a dog or a cat? Thank you, D Nice. Jen, what's up? How's it going? How can, like, where did they come about that this white shadow is a ghost or is a ghost of a dog or a cat? Where do they get that? I do not understand. I feel like with videos of these, 24 hours later. And whenever I see something that has like a white cloud or anything like this video does, um I always want to say it's what, because this is a Ring camera, it does upload to the cloud. And I feel like when video uploads to the cloud, or even when you're uploading a video to YouTube, it loses a little bit of its I want to say like its clarity. So I feel like that could be a glitch of when it was uploaded to the cloud. Jeffrey Murray goes, "Oh, snapped, it went inside the car." Matthew goes, "Looks like a bug so close to the camera it blurs it." That, Matthew, I've had that happen on my camera. You can actually see like the leg if it's a spider, but you can see like a part of the bug. You can actually see the bug when that happens. Chris Barber goes, "Looks more like someone was smoking." Tarana goes, "I can't tell what it is." Leonore, "I'll play it again." Dusty, what's up? I'll play it again, guys. Give me a second here.
Don't pay a rate based on someone who drives like this. Pay a rate based on you.
Don't mind the Allstate commercial. They claim this white shadow or gray shadow is a dog or a cat. When I first saw this video, I was like, how do you consider that a dog and a cat or a cat? Chris Barber goes, "It doesn't look like an." It does not. Here it is again. It's checking out the car. Elaine goes a vape. Shamanistic unicorn Tam goes walking away. Chris Barr goes, it looks more human shaped. That's what I was saying. It looks more human shaped to me. But I always went like I was saying earlier, I always feel like it's something to do. I'm kind of skeptical when it comes to videos like this. But obviously, like there's no lights coming from, if we were gonna really debunk this, there's no lights coming from anywhere besides the porch or the driveway, obviously, which I'm assuming is from the camera. But that wouldn't cause a shadow like that. But I do know when when you upload things, compression can cause things. Like it could catch people, walking when they're not there. So I'm kind of skeptical when it comes to these things, but there literally isn't anything that can explain it. So Lisa Boo goes, it's hard to tell. Bernadette goes, it looks too fake to me. That's why I'm always skeptical when it comes to videos. And then I do know Ring uploads to the cloud. I think they all do. They all upload to a cloud. Tyrannico still can't tell what it is. Jennifer Marie goes, looks like it scooped out the car it planned to break into the next night. Did anyone check if anything was stolen by the ghost? Jennifer Maria would be surprised. A ghost stole something out of my car would be the next headline. Leonore goes, Phil's kind of using a camera instead of smoke in the mirrors. Julissa goes, it's weird. I agree. Not an animal shape. Looks more like a human shape. Wendy goes, I'm always sus. I mean, it's good to be. It's always good to be skeptical when it comes to these things. And nowadays, like I'm always going to say technology is like the main culprit of why I always stay skeptical. Because it's too easy nowadays to add things, add sounds, add shadows. I mean, I'm not good at doing that, but there are some people that are pros when it comes to that. So I'm not dismissing that there's a possibility that we do have spirits that come and visit us, because I do believe that, but Bernadette goes, it's walking like Marilyn Monroe a bit. but it happened 2 nights in a row. So I wonder if it happened at the same time. Cuz it said 24 hours later, so I'm assuming the same time that the first time it occurred. So it could be a family member just dropping by saying hello. You never know. Wendy goes, I want to, and I do believe. I'm with you on that one, Wendy. Bleeder goes, they can edit it as spread. No, there's people that are really good at editing. I'm not one of them. I can edit, but not that well. You can see the imperfections when I edit. Chris Burgos, ain't Marilyn having an affair with someone's ghost husband? Allegedly, she is. So I've got another video because I found a bunch of videos. This is from Coast to Coast. I'll read the article first and then I'll play the video. This one's of a security guard encounters a ghost child in a Peruvian market. I have not seen this video, so this is the first time I've seen this video. So we'll see. We'll both discover and see what's going on with it at the same time. A security camera at a Peruvian market captured a guard seemingly speaking to an unseen person, and the man at the center of the now viral video has come forward with the fantastic claim that the footage shows him having a conversation with a ghost girl. The chilling scene reportedly unfolded in the city of Ventanilla last year, though the footage appears to have only popped up online earlier this month and since then has spread like wildfire on social media in Peru. In the video, the security guard can be seen walking toward the center of an empty room and moving his hand in a manner akin to patting a child on the head. He then crouches down and appears to speak to someone in front of him before standing back up and continuing the conversation. Very often, such stories of suspected ghost encounters caught on film end with the video itself concludes and provides little insight from the perspective of the person seeing the footage. Very true. However, in this instant, the security guard has actually shared his account of what unfolded during the puzzling scene. According to the man, who opted to remain anonymous when speaking to a Peruvian media outlet, the incident began when he was making his rounds that evening and stumbled upon what he thought was a little girl crying. Understandably concerned, he asked her what was wrong, and the troubled youngster explained that she was looking for her mother, who worked in the market's meat department. Ooh. The guard claimed that he offered to bring the girl to his security office, but she wanted to stay put and wait for her mother. The man says that he subsequently left to get some help with the situation. And when he returned, the youngster was nowhere to be found. When he later looked at the security footage from his run-in with the little girl, the guard was shocked to discover that the video showed him speaking and interacting with thin air. What do you make of the strange footage and unsettling account that accompanied it? Did the guard generally encounter a ghost, or is the eerie event merely a tall tale put forward by a night watchman? So, hopefully this video plays from here. Oh no, it's got music. Hold on, let me see if I can find the actual one. Because YouTube likes to be tricky with that music. Unless I could turn it down. Hold on. Is there a way I could turn it down? Oh, yes, there is. I don't know why they put that music behind there. So apparently, he had said he was speaking to a child who was waiting for their mother. So guys, what do you think? Do you think Chris Bargos, he could be faking it? Daniel goes, this one might be different. The one I remember, the guy was a security guard looking in a camera at the guy outside in the driveway talking to a ghost. I did show one, if you guys remember, on a previous stream with the security guard. He was at I don't know where he was at, but he was talking to a Miss somebody, and the other security guard that happened to be in the booth was looking at the camera, and she was like, "Who are you talking to?" And he was like, Miss Adams, I forgot the name of the patient. She's looking for so and so, and I told her that they don't open until and to come back in the morning." And then she goes, "Who?" And the guy says the name again, and she goes, "She died 2 years ago." So that one was like creepy. So I don't know with these. I kind of Leonardo goes, I seen those in old shows, psychics talking to ghosts. Wendy goes, drapes and curtains. Carol goes, this looks fake to me. Shamanistic Unicorn Tam goes, why would he leave her alone though? I think he went back to get help. And then when he returned, she wasn't there. Jennifer Marie goes, he was just bored at work. Elaine going, not buying it. Daniel goes, didn't the security guard in the booth call him on his cell? That one, I don't know if this is the same story, so I'm not sure, Daniel. Julissa goes, seems fake. Tyranna goes, fake. So y'all think it's a night watchman, because it's not saying what time, but I'm assuming he's working the overnight shift, graveyard shift. So everyone's saying that he just made it up, like he was bored during his shift and decided to make it up. Or call on a walkie. Oh, I know, he could have. True. I don't know why he decided to walk away. That's true. Very true. That makes no sense. But Chris Barber goes, bored. I mean, the one that I had the one I was talking about that I had shown you, I believed him because he was generally freaked out. But this one, I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50. Like, I want to believe that he did see something, that the market is haunted, but at the same time, he could have just been bored. And I mean, there's nothing that happens on graveyard shift a lot of times, so he's probably trying to make the time go by and stay awake type of thing, so he decided to do that. But he was interviewed by Peruvian news outlets, so I don't know. I don't know if you would want to go that far faking it, you know what I mean? Chris Barber goes, I've seen a couple of good ones. Elaine goes, I saw that one. That was creepy. Shamanistic Unicorn Tam goes, nice try. But there's some people that will go as far as telling the media and everything. But me, I would not. If I was faking it, I wouldn't want it to go that far. Dusty goes, trying out for an acting job, his day job. But I know I've worked graveyard shifts before, and there's no one around, so it does get well, I mean, the jobs I did was always moving, so I never really had time to get bored, but I can get being like a security guard. It does get boring. Cuz I did that for a bit. It does get boring, especially when you're walking around checking things and it's the same thing over and over again. Chris Barber goes, everybody wants their 15 minutes. Some people just want the attention. Some people do. I don't. If I'm gonna get the attention, to be something for, something that's real, not that's me though. Wendy goes, I got stories for days. Shaman Skewer Hotel goes, time for my second get it. Chris Barber goes, that would be a creepy job. I would think it would, especially if you're a night watchman or a security guard at a hospital. That would be creepy. And you had to walk down corridors that not a lot of people use at night just to check on them. That would, to me, I feel like that would be a creepy job. I don't know. I think I would have fun at that job. For a while. After a while, I think I would get bored, but Carol goes, I had my 15 minutes. I didn't want it then, and I still don't want it. Chris Barber goes, I'm the same way. I don't like hospitals during the day. Tyranna goes, it would be so creepy. Matthew goes, like the film The Watch, working at Costco, and then the aliens show up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but wouldn't that make your workday more exciting? You know what I mean? I wouldn't want that to happen though, but that would make your workday go quick. You're gonna wish you didn't come into work that day. Carol goes, I was an armed guard at a nuclear powered plant. There was weird things at night. Oh, wow. Julissa goes, I would not want that job. Wendy goes, I've seen more than I like. Daniel goes, I found out my motel was built before 1956, found postcards with the date of 1948. Wow, that is super cool, Daniel. I love old buildings. That is cool. Okay, I found this cool article. It kind of struck me. I kind of skimmed through it, so I don't know exactly what it's about, but the title caught my attention, and it's I'm living with the ghost of my husband's first wife. And I was like, "What is this?" Um, it says it's an essay, so we'll see. As soon as we get to Peter's weekend house, I feel her presence everywhere. It's intimidating and sometimes something to live up to. And so this is a photo of her first husband or her husband's first wife, Ruth, who died in 2012. I believe this article is recent. Yeah, May 23rd. So it's a super recent article. Written by Bianca Tursky. The first time I visited Peter's weekend house in Sag Harbor, a seaside village on Long Island, I thought his wife Ruth was trying to kill me. She had been dead for nearly 6 years by then. She had died of breast cancer. I knew her only as a ghost. Peter's son, who I'll call A for privacy reasons, was staying over at a friend's house, and I was excited for our first road trip out of the city. A weekend together with nothing planned except preparing meals, making puzzles, and reading books. We turned down a long gravel driveway bordered by woods on one side and a fence on the other. It was a late October night, dark and crisp. We crossed over metal bars spanning a ditch at the end of the drive, a deer grate, he told me. As the motion detector lights clicked on, I saw the house for the first time. Imposing with dark shingles sidings, white trim, and a gabled roof. Peter and Ruth had spent years renovating this house, tilling the kitchen by hand, weeding the overgrown yard, painting A's bedroom cerulean blue when he was still a little boy. They'd purchased it as a small ranch house decades before with their pooled savings, their shared endeavor, a family home for their future together. Ruth never got to see and enjoy the finished product. Peter hadn't either, really. Too loaded with memories, so it sat mostly empty after she died as the years passed. He unlocked the front door into the dim foyer, and I stepped into a beautiful red and blue Turkish rug. Several of the overhead lights were burnt out. I took in a deep breath, expecting to smell the fresh country air. Instead, the air tasted stale and sharp, like poison. I stifled a cough and tried not to breathe through my nose. I smiled and didn't mention it. I was a guest. So this is the author of this article and her now husband, Peter. In my dream that night, Ruth was still alive. She hadn't died. She had been in a coma and had awoken. She was back and looking for her family. I was hiding in the bedroom, trying to stay small and quiet so she wouldn't find me. I didn't belong there. I woke up gasping for air. I'm so sorry, Peter said when I told him about the dream. I was wondering when that would happen. I have different versions of that dream all the time. In the morning, we both woke up with headaches, stale air, years of the house just sitting there waiting for its owners to return. I felt like I was suffocating. Peter didn't look well either. We opened the windows and let the cross breeze do its job. I took some Advil. I guess that was her first attempt. Ruth was beautiful, chic, and petite. She had dark, wavy hair and a personal shopper at Bergdorf's. There was a picture of her hanging behind Peter's suits in the closet. Sometimes when I was alone, I would push aside his sports coats and stare at her. She majored in art history but went to law school and worked in finance. She closed deals, which was a phrase I still comprehend with the mind of a 12-year-old who plays office. She made a lot of money. I still feel like I'm making money when I make a big return to the real. She was fluent in 5 languages and hosted elaborate dinner parties. I do Duolingo 3 nights a week. She was a sophisticated adult. At 37, I somehow still felt like a kid. It didn't help that in conversation, Peter still referred to Ruth as his wife. How could we ever take a relationship to the next level and if his mind was still married? My friend said to look on the bright side. At least I didn't have to deal with his ex, but actually, I did. She was his wife for 14 years, and I was someone he met on an app. Hinge suggests Peter was someone I might like from our initial messages to each other. We both knew the algorithm was on to something. The next time we went out to Sag Harbor, a massive tree had fallen across the driveway, pulled up by its roots by the wind. Stop, you're not welcome here, it seemed to say. Peter and I took our bags out of the trunk and walked the rest of the way, the flashlights from our phones cutting through the inky black night. We walked in the dirt to avoid getting our ankles trapped in the deer gate. It was that something, it was it's not that something ominous happened every time we went to Sag Harbor, but often something did. One weekend, there were unexplained noises from the attic. The next, there were dead flying squirrels buried in the laundry basket. What? One time, the whole house was crying, streams of water seeping through the shingles. You could trace your name on the window panes. The basement was full of steam, which had destroyed the one thing I had left there, a poster from one of my book launches that I had bought out for safekeeping. Ruth wasn't having any of that. On another Saturday, we found water pouring down from a gaping hole in the ceiling. The radar had sprung a leak. Or radiator, the radiator had sprung a leak. Water was 2 inches deep. Curtains of sheetrock hung from the hole in the ceiling. Sheetrock, oh my God. Nothing like this ever happened before. I'm starting to think this house doesn't like you, Peter joked as he ran down to the basement to shut off the water and retrieve the shop vac. He was calm. He still had his sense of humor. That's when I knew I wanted to marry him. After a few months, Wendy goes, my attic speaks. Elaine goes, not cool. Okay, Peter, not cool. Wendy goes, my dreams are prolific. Leonora goes, again, married to a ghost. Leonora goes, can I do a story of Disney ghosts? Yeah, I'll look them up. I think I mentioned them before, but I could do it again. I didn't really go in depth, but I could do Disney ghost again for sure. After a few months, I found myself talking to Ruth in my head during my morning runs, reassuring her that I would take care of her family while at the same time trying to convince myself that I was up for the task. She never replied, much like the first therapist I had when I moved to New York City, a Freudian analyst who only responded to me to tell me that our time was up. When the pandemic hit, Peter A and I moved into the house full time. For months, it was filled with Zoom meetings and virtual school and the smell of no knead bread baking in the oven. We binged Ozark and played endless rounds of Hearts and Rummy 500. Peter and I took turns cooking. When we went sledding the one evening, there was snow on the ground. I taught A how to shuffle cards. He taught me why Breaking Bad was the perfect show. We did the Hot Ones challenge. Somewhere along the way, with an actual deadly threat at our door, we had become a family. I stopped acting like a guest. The house felt like it could be my home too. Right about then, Peter proposed. Year later, Peter and I walked together toward the chuppah. Patty, Ruth's best friend, the maid of honor at Peter's first wedding, now our officiant, stood waiting for us. Her radiant smile aimed right at me. Ruth's cousin Franco stood holding one of the canopies near corners, caddy corner from Joe, Peter's college friend, who had stood there for Peter and Ruth too. At dinner that night, I mentioned Ruth in my toast. I wanted her there with us, for Peter and A. Their love was the foundation on which our relationship was built. She wasn't my enemy or my competitor. She was A's mom's, Peter's first love, and the reason he knew how to pack a suitcase and make it a perfect chocolate souffle. Peter sat listening, fiddling with a platinum ring he had taken off when Ruth died, but now has both wedding dates etched into. The photograph from Peter's closet has moved out into the open. It hangs in A's bedroom. Ruth is wearing big Jackie O sunglasses, standing on the shore of a lake in Zimbabwe, a post-college trip from long ago. She is internally young, beautiful, and watching out over her son with a bemused smile. What do you think the house has in store for us this time? I joked as we turned down the driveway one day in May, about 8 months after the wedding. It's been a few weeks since we were there last. We've been married for several months now, as A is away of his first year of college. Peter unlocks the door, and I have a horrible sense of deja vu. The house welcomes us with a rank smell. The plagues are back. I go upstairs to look around, but Peter calls me back. He found the problem. I walked into the guest bedroom and put my hand on the bed. The quilt is soaked. I look up and see a drip, and right then, just like in the movies, the ceiling caves in. Maybe the house misses us, Peter says, staying calm, just like the first time. This time, I don't feel like the ghost of Ruth is out to get me. Sometimes a broken pipe is just a broken pipe. I go downstairs to get the shop vac from the basement. At this point, I know where it is kept after all. Peter shuts off the water and we pack the car up and head back home. The plumber tells me that he will come on Monday in time for next weekend. I think I will always feel Ruth's presence in the house and in our marriage, but I wouldn't want it any other way. That is an awesome article, guys. What did you think of that article? I the title of it kind of intrigued me. That's why I wanted to share it. Julissa goes, that would drive me insane to have a ghost in the house, especially if it was my husband's first wife. But I mean, after they got married, they still were having problems. So she kind of shrugged it off this time and like she accepted it. Matthew goes, sorry, but get to the chupa. Shamanistic Unitary Tam goes, wow. Tyranna goes, yeah, it was a good story. It was well written. She kind of accepted her and she wouldn't want it any other way. So I kind of felt like that was kind of nice. And she even respect her gave a speech during her wedding for her. So I feel like she respects her. She really does respect her. Like she means no harm. And it's sad what happened to her, but I'm glad that Peter was able to find happiness after what had happened to him too as well. But I don't blame you, Julissa. I don't think I would be able to do that either. But it's a very good story. It was very well written. Ozzy Walks, what is up? How's it going? Julissa goes, it's a good story. It is. I mean, I get her side of it. At first, I probably wouldn't like it, but at the same time, she is part of them in a way because her son lives with them. So, I mean, she's going to be around there no matter what. So, it's kind of like you kind of have to make peace with it and respect her. So, it's kind of cool. Kind of cool story. Chris Burr goes, I did too. That's not what I was expecting. I just saw the title and I was like, what? But it's a really good story. Amazing story. All right, I'm going to show you a little because I love pranks. This is the haunted doll prank. I don't think this is the one I saw the other day, but it's similar. I love these prank things. They make me laugh all the time. So, um, I mean, obviously you could see the guy moving the doll, but I find these funny. I wish it had the sound of them actually screaming. Matthew goes Elsa. Matthew goes Elsa's alive with the sound of music. Jennifer Marie goes, part of me wants to prank my oldest kid with this, but I think it would actually traumatize them. Lisa Boo goes, anything that makes you laugh is good. I wish it actually saw this one had like music dubbing over it. I wish we could actually hear the actual um like what they were saying. Would have been funnier, I think. Leonora goes, dang that puppet. The guy saw the Annabelle doll and he was like all right, guys, I am going to open it up for questions and questions, answers, complaints, criticisms. Ask away, guys. Could be paranormal related, could be about bugs, could be about Mary the First, could be about anything. Prank videos, whatever. Anything that you saw that you recommend. Leonora goes, I have no definition for normal. Chris Barber goes, I don't normally care for prank videos, but those are funny. I don't normally like them either, but they make me laugh. Like those, like with the when they do like the possessions and stuff, they make me laugh. Just the person's reaction. Daniel goes, no complaints here. My boss showed up out of the blue with a surprise visit and said he was in the neighborhood when he lives in Vegas. He hasn't been here in 2 years. Everything went well. Wow. Don't you love those surprise visits? But at least everything went well. That's cool. Daniel, is he super cool or is he kind of like is he a cool boss? Shamanistic Unicorn Tam, I really think that those vibes were felt from the lady that had passed. Have you ever felt a present like that and how she entered? No, I have not. I have not felt that. I have not. The only time I ever did was, uh, the only time I ever did was when I found out my mom, the last time I saw my mom alive. So it was basically when I went to the hospital visit. Before I went in, my dad had told me like, your mom's not gonna make it. She's gonna die within. She's not gonna last. She's the day. So I said my goodbyes. Came home. When I came home, there was this heaviness in this house. And it was like, I will never forget it. It was like the super heaviness. Whenever my room at the time was in the front of the house, it wasn't in the front of the house, it was in the back of the house where my mom, because at the time she was on hospice. So she had a hospital bed. And then when I walked into my parents' room, that is when I felt that, which is my room now. That's where I felt like a heaviness. It was almost like death was looking for my mom, but she wasn't there. Like that type of heaviness. That's the only time I've ever felt anything like that. But I've been to haunted places, but I've never alleged haunted places, I should say. Like I've been to the Queen Mary and I've never felt anything. I've been like, even when I went to that haunted hotel in San Diego, I really didn't feel anything. So I guess it just depends um on where you're at maybe, but that day I will never forget. Like that there was like a heaviness. Daniel goes, he's pretty cool. He bought me a guitar for Christmas. He plays guitar. We're into this. Oh, okay. Hey, cool. Not that bad then, that's awesome. If he's cool, then that's all that counts. Leonor's asking, "Do I know about Dolly's Deep?" No, I do not. Shamanistic Hero Tam goes, "I really believe the lady felt that presence of the ex's passing. Have you ever felt a weird presence when you entered a home?" Already answered that. Daniel continues, he actually had a memorial to go to, which was 100 miles from here. So he just, he was like, well, I'm in the area. Julissa goes, that is so sad, Lisa. I'm sorry you lost your mom so young. I was in my I wasn't I guess I guess that doesn't matter what age you are when you lose your mom, it's tough. I was in my 20s, early 20s when she passed. A while ago. That's still it doesn't matter how old you are. You still need your mom no matter how old you are. Daniel goes, his eyes lit up when he saw my DJ setup and all my music equipment. That's cool. Daniel, that's cool though that you have a cool boss. Leonore goes, beware of the banshee. But like I said, that is the only time I've ever felt anything when I walked into a house. And I knocked my thing off. Not that you can. I should put it here because it says "Stay spooky." There, you could kind of see it. It's backwards though. There you go. Guys, keep the questions going. It makes your job a lot easier when you have a cool boss. When you have a boss that sucks, then makes the job horrible. I was going to say memorable, but I was like horrible. Carol, thank you for reminding me. Skeleduck, guys, he is right there where my finger is pointing. He is sitting by Jerry and Larry the skeletons. And he's got his back toward us. Right where my finger is. He is right there. Jeffrey Bree goes, I knew it. Thank you for reminding me, Carol, because I do forget. I've ended the stream and I'm like, oh. Wendy goes, I am my own boss. That is the best. Lisa Boo goes, I finally saw him. Daniel goes, I haven't even talked to him in months. I talked to his receptionist niece. Oh, that's weird. Carol goes, I had a boss who hated a woman doing a man's job and I did it better than the men did. Oh, that must have been rough. Like having a boss like that. Daniel goes, I don't even have to answer the phone here at the motel. Oh, cool. That's cool, Daniel. Elaine's like, damn you, Skeleduck. Julissa goes, what do you have planned for the rest of the weekend? I'm probably going to go for a neighborhood walk tomorrow. Hopefully you get some sunshine. It's been gloomy. But I'm enjoying the weather because in Vegas it was hotter than hell during the day. But at night there was a nice breeze. At night I didn't mind. At night was beautiful. But I'm enjoying this weather. When I come back, I was like, I'm cold. Leonor goes, can you look into Dolly's Dip? Yeah, for sure. Let me write that down. I'm always looking for new ideas. So yeah, I'm down for Dolly's Dip and Disney Ghost for ideas. Thank you, Leonora. I'm always looking for ideas. Carol goes, my coworker stuck up for. Well, I mean, that's good, at least. Julissa goes, I hope you have perfect weather for your walk tomorrow. Thank you, Julissa. I appreciate that. Daniel goes, natural bridge caves in. Sometimes, though, I can't find information on some things, so bear with me. Thank you, Daniel. Shamanistic Unicorn Tam, I walked a lot. Today I just chose to do I was gonna go walking, but I chose to do just an indoor workout. Daniel goes the Indian because Daniel, I tried to look up that Indian massacre and I couldn't find anything. So maybe I'll look up the natural bridge caves. In Wildwood. I'll put Wildwood too, because I tried to look at the Indian thing and I couldn't find it. Because I know you mentioned it before. Wendy goes, I'm just hoping the weather holds out for hubby's work on Monday. Daniel goes, it's 20 miles from me. I'll try to dig. I'll see if I dig, if I use the caves, if something will pop up. Because I tried looking for the Indian massacre and I could not find anything. Sometimes things are hidden, so you gotta. All right, guys. Any last minute questions before I end the stream? Carol goes, happy Memorial Day, everyone, on Monday for those who celebrate. Because I know there's some people in other countries that drop by in this stream. Daniel goes, I believe everybody's Google search is also different. I think so, too. Happy and Daniel's birthday is on the 31st, guys. So which is Friday. Next Friday. So happy birthday, Daniel. That is awesome. Jennifer Marie goes, I'm going to visit my grandfather's grave for the first time on Monday for Memorial Day. I need to do that. Well, I have not visited my dad's grave, but I do have his ashes here. I need to do that as well. But I do have his ashes with me, so it's kind of. But he's also, I've got my mom's ashes, but he's also buried. He's buried with my mom as well. Make sure I didn't forget anybody. I did not. All right, guys. Happy birthday, Daniel. If we don't see you by Friday. And I'm sure we will before then, but happy birthday just in case we don't. And early birthday. And guys, I will see you on the next one, which will be Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I had to think for a second. Be there, be squared, stay spooky, guys. Sweet nightmares. And I'll see you on the next one. Good night, guys. You guys are awesome. If I can find my cursor. All right. Good night, guys. See you on the next one.